This app driver was caught in the act by his wife and didn't know what to do. His wife was leaving an establishment. When she spots a car similar to her husband's, she tries to identify it from afar, to be sure if it was him. Her husband, on the other hand, is scared to see his wife getting closer and closer to the car where his lover was. The lover tries to convince her husband to tell the whole truth of the case, as he had promised not to keep a secret anymore. He refuses, explaining to his lover that wasn't the best situation to reveal everything. He notices a girl walking down the street and immediately thinks of a plan to escape the situation. He asks the girl if she would accept a sum of money. She is offended by the proposal, but he says it was not what she was thinking. He offers the money in exchange for the woman distracting his wife for a while. She agrees and goes to meet the man's wife. And he starts telling meaningless stories to entertain the woman, who was already fed up, trying her best to get out of that conversation because she was late to pick up her children from school. The woman insists on continuing the subject, but the wife immediately leaves. The woman tries to signal from a distance to her husband, informing him that the plan had not worked. He spots his wife approaching the car and forces his lover to go to the trunk. She is irritated by the humiliation of the situation but does what her husband asked. His wife approaches the car and asks what her husband was doing there at that time. He replies that he was expecting a passenger. The wife then tries to put the bag she was carrying in the trunk. He immediately tries to stop it. He makes a quick excuse and makes his wife sit on the seat, making him put it in the trunk himself. Upon returning, his wife ends up finding the mistress's cell phone in the car seat. He doesn't know what to answer. He says it was probably a passenger who left it in the car. The wife realizes that the cell phone was unlocked and decides to call the first contact with the name Meu Amor. The husband notices his phone ringing, but he hangs up the wife's call and pretends to be talking to a friend. The wife finds that whole situation very strange. However, they were already late to pick up their children from school, and they decide to move on. However, they are interrupted by a policeman, who notices their car parked in a prohibited place and decides to approach. The husband can't find the car document to hand over to the police. Irritated, the police asks the two to get out of the car. To their surprise, the policeman offers a price to be paid so they won't be fined. The wife refuses the offer, but the husband accepts it out of nervousness. When paying, the policeman decides to make a call to his wife and realizes that the cell phone was ringing in the driver's wife's hand. He asks what she was doing with his wife's cell phone. She replies that she was a passenger and probably left it in her husband's car. The policeman is irritated because his wife had not left that day and decides to search the entire car. The husband tries to stop it, but he couldn't do anything else. Upon opening the trunk, everyone is surprised by the presence of the woman. The two still try to make up a story that she would be feeling sick and it didn't fit the front seat, so he lay down in the trunk. But no one was convinced of that. The wife tells her husband to immediately get his things out of the house and leaves the situation. The policeman also decides to have a very serious talk with his wife.